So today's the 20th, the VR, the 18th of May. By the end of May, I'll know that it's 2 days apart. Okay. So we're really in chapter 3, I think.
Did we finish a chapter?
We finished chapter 2,
okay.
yeah. Let me just make sure we saw this. It's a little bit more than we need to do in chapter. Okay. So, I think we may have, I don't remember. In any case, 54. And towards the end of chapter 2.
Right, you didn't finish it, right, that's what I thought.
So he said, that's why in the Zohar, in Parsha HaOmer, in yesterday's Parsha, it said that the Omer is like Inyan Minchat Knaot. Okay? We didn't mention this, but we should have mentioned it. That Emor is like Omer. It's just that's the Aleph and Ayin that we talked about. So it's very.
We did mention it.
We did mention it. Okay. So in Parshas Naso, not here, not in Emor, there's the whole story of the wayward woman, and she also brings a offering that's made, a meal offering that's made out of barley, not out of wheat. All the offerings in the temple are made out of wheat, and they're not allowed to become chametz. They're not allowed to leaven, except for these two, the Omer and the wayward woman.
But those are both.
Those are made from barley.
Right.
And the idea is, they say that because she acted like a beast, she brings an offering from the food of an animal. In any case, so we said that it's the same deal, because what is it doing? It's introducing into her hey gvurot. It's giving her this barley, because it's the animal food and it ripens first. It introduces into her these hey gvurot, and the way you see this is because the whole description it's called minchat knaot. It's now called the minchat sota. Usually you call it minchat knaot. What does that mean? That her husband is jealous for her. And what is that? What it's saying is that the relationship before was not, let's call it, not intense enough. And that's why they didn't have children. It says that if she didn't have children, now that she
could have had children.
Maybe she could have, maybe she couldn't. But in any case, it was not intense enough. Okay. A lot of the ability of a woman to conceive is psychological. It's a question of how much does she feel. Some women, it's just physical, entirely physical. It doesn't matter what they feel, they'll conceive. But for women who are on borderline, like whether they're able to conceive or not, a lot of it is psychological. And everything.
Right. A lot comes after adoption. They
sometimes, right. Then they have. There's a lot of things that change depending on her psychology. And in any case, here, what it's saying is that there wasn't enough intensity in the relationship. And so she might have even subconsciously wanted him to become jealous. And that's why she didn't do anything wrong.
But she wanted that extra.
Right. She wanted more attention from him. She wanted him to,
which would psychologically prepare her for.
I don't know if it's like, but she needs to feel that he wants her.
Okay.
That it's not just some kind of arrangement that they have.
I see what you're saying.
That he has some passion for her.
Wow.
And so the act of being in a state that's not 100% kosher with another man or something like that awakens his jealousy. So it's called the offering of jealousy, minchat knaot. And the idea here is that, like with the seorim, like with the barley for the Omer, we're adding rectified or clarified mivurarim gvuros, the harsh judgments, but which have been stripped away of the negative energy that they usually have. So how does it work here? So in the land, we said the land itself receives from these angels that strike the produce and make it grow faster. And then what we do is, he's going to say this in a moment, I'm just going to say it right now because the order here is a little mixed up because it's in the parentheses. But what we do is we lift it up and we clean it in 13 sifters. And then even when it's ready, once the offering is ready, that's the barley itself. So once the barley is made into flour and then turned into dough and made into the offering, into the meal offering, then the meal offering itself is lifted in front of the altar. And that's again, it's an elevation of and trying to strip away the negative side of the harsh judgments. The negative side is like Esav. It's like Esav himself, he's the negative side of this. And in us, it's supposed to be a positive. Again, it promotes growth. It's a catalyst for growth. So in the woman, that's exactly what it does. שצריך להיות בחינת התעוררות ה' גבורות. וזה סוד בדיקו, again, I didn't check this, what Daled Aleph Chet here means. Bediku de Or Choser, I don't know. It's some kind of check that she's done. I don't know how to, the way that she's tested, as it were, by drinking the water and everything that she needs to do in order to prove her innocence. כי אם נתאחדה בטוב יהיה לה עלייה ויתרון. If she is connected to the good, and everything she did, she didn't do anything wrong, it was just seemed that way. And again, why did she do it? Because she wants to awaken her husband's jealousy for her. She wants to feel wanted. Then it elevates her. כמו שנבחנה הארץ בשעורים שגדלו מהשפעתה שלא נתאחדו ברע ועולים לריח ניחוח להשם. In the same way that the barley that we bring for the offering, we've stripped it away of all the negativity, and now we bring it on the altar. That's in order to awaken again the good harsh judgments, the good harshness, the good aggression that causes things to move quickly. And then it causes the wheat, the wheat also, but all the produce of the next year to grow in a fine fashion. והוא שמה דמותה לאשת זנונים שנתאחדה ברע. But if she really did something wrong, then the harsh judgments become poison for her. And it eventually leads to her demise. כי הטוב נפרד ממנה ואז מתה. Because then all the good is taken out. What's sifted out is actually the good, and what's left is the negative. ולכן מנחת העומר תנועת תנופה. תאונת תנופה. תנו פה. What's the idea? כדאית בזוהר, להעלות המלכות שירדה בביאה בבחינת שיעור ה', להחיות מלאכים כנ"ל. And so that's why we lift the HaOmer, once it's an offering, in front of the altar, and it says, Tnu pei, give me a mouth. It says, give me a mouth is like saying, open my mouth. Like we said about Pesach, it's the ability, the freedom to speak. All these freedoms there when you take away all the harshness, all the negativity, and you're left with the power of speech. And we said that again, that even for speech, we need these judgments, because the judgments, the gvura, is what divides the speech into the distinct 22 letters. Without that, it doesn't divide, because everything we're doing is we're taking the wind that's coming out of our windpipe, and we're dividing it into separate letters so that we become articulate. We can actually articulate words. ועל ידי זה תהיה המשכה מחדש בשנה לזו הבאה. And thanks to this, to the HaOmer offering, that's how the produce grows. That's what gives it the catalyst, the ability to grow quickly in the amount of time needed for the next year. So now we're in chapter 3. והנה כל זהו עניין בחינת מנחת העומר, שהוא בחינת שעורה שהוא המתגלה בפסח, והיא ראשית קצירכם, שהוא עניין השגת הנפש בחינת גילוי עיר אינסוף ברוך הוא, איך הוא ממלא כל מין וסובל כל מין לכל נפש כפי אשר תוכל שאת ההשגה. It says, so this is the issue behind the HaOmer offering, which again we said is to shi'ur hey, these dividing into 5 origins of speech, and the speech began to be revealed on Pesach, and what it's on the first day of Pesach. Really, we do the HaOmer the next day on the 16th. So we still have call it the revelation of the Seder night. And the revelation of the Seder night is that we feel that Hashem is everything. Because that's what He did when He took us out of Egypt, that we suddenly saw that the entire world is nothing before Him. So He's Memaleh Kol Alamin, He's Sover Panim, He fills all worlds, He surrounds all worlds, for every soul, as much as that soul can understand. כאשר יעמיק האדם ויתבונן גדולתו, יתברך כל אחד לפום שיעור הדילי, הבא משיעור ה'. And now he adds a new thing. He says, and the time of the HaOmer, when the barley is ripening, is the time of contemplating godliness. That's the idea. And we said that that's the whole thing here, the whole angel thing, the whole feedback loop we had here. It's all about what we do now in our mind. What they did in the field, we do in the field of the mind. So what do? We contemplate. And on Seder night, it all came rushing in. You didn't have to do anything. It just happened by itself. But in the 49 days after that, you have to work on it yourself. That's the contemplation. That's the isbonenus, as we call it, of contemplating that Hashem is one. Hashem is memaleh kol almin. He fills all worlds, and He surrounds our world, and He's everything. So all that is during the time of the Omer. We act like angels, you could say, during this time. What do you mean by angels? It's a natural process. Angels are nature. Today we call it forces of physics. They used to call it angels. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. It's just another way of describing it. But they could manipulate angels to a certain degree, in the same way that we can manipulate.
Who could manipulate angels?
In the early times,
Men could manipulate angels?
that was the whole thing. That was practical Kabbalah. Practical Kabbalah was mostly based on manipulating angels. We don't need it. Why do we not need it? Because Hashem gave us a different way to manipulate the physical world. We have electricity, we have this, we have that. We have all kinds of ways of doing it. We don't need to do that. It's a different way of achieving.
Not the physical world.
What? Yeah. That's what I'm saying, that they are. It's the same thing. It's just another way of describing it. So you can describe particles and you can describe angels. They're equivalent. But on Shavuos we come to a new level, a completely new level. It has nothing to do with the barley. Now we come to the wheat. And the wheat represents the revelation, again another revelation from above, which is completely different. The revelation on Seder night was to reveal that God is the master of the world. It was to reveal what had happened in creation. In creation, God had created the world, but He had concealed Himself in the world. So you couldn't see Him. He is concealed in nature. What happened on Seder night? It was revealed that all of nature is really godly. That all of nature is serving Him. What's revealed on Shavuos? On Shavuos, He suddenly reveals His Torah. Now He reveals His will. Not the world. The world that He runs the world, that He revealed on Seder night. That's what we saw, that He controls everything. Nobody can stand in His way. But He didn't tell us to do anything yet. He's not our master yet. He took us out in order to become our master. So wait for 49 days. And now on the 50th day, He tells us what He wants from us. And what He wants from us is something entirely new. It's not. Nature doesn't want anything from you. Nature doesn't care. Okay? But now, once the Torah is revealed, He wants something from you.
In other words, an angel is something separate. Anything separate from Hashem becomes physical, doesn't it? In a sense.
We said that they're separate.
So does that where the physicality of an angel comes into play?
No, they're not physical in the sense, any more than an electron is physical. No, it's not physical. No, they're not physical. They're not physical. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing with quantum mechanics. That they're not physical things.
Atomic structure is physical.
Atomic structure creates physicality. We understand that, but the particles are not physical.
I believe
they're energy.
100%.
They're just energy. Some of them have.
I see what you're saying. It's an energy.
Some of them have a mass equivalent.
Physical?
It's not a thing.
Because it doesn't have a mass.
No, some of them do have mass, but it's a mass equivalent.
Not.
It's equivalent in mass. The energy is equivalent in mass.
I don't know anything about it. Okay.
No, but it's the whole thing. The famous statement from Bohr, Niels Bohr, that an electron is not a thing. When they realized that they're not things, that's when it got really strange for them. Because they thought you keep going down, you just see smaller and smaller objects. But they're not objects. So they're very much equivalent to angels. Not the angels we talk about exactly. But okay. So we'll continue tomorrow.